Okay, model so today we're going to do a bit of an inbox review on our Yonkers JU88G one. This is the Night Fighter version, and if you can see up here in the corner, I got this one for a bargain, 20 bucks. Okay, this is from a bit of a swap meet we had here locally, and hopefully you can see, I'll just turn this light on, hope that'll help a little bit. You can see the box art on this is absolutely beautiful. I love the box art. I mean, most kits I do love the box art. There's a few that stand out, and this one is one of them. I just love that look of, you know, these guys flying over the top over here. The Lancaster's just flying over the top, and these guys going underneath, and it's night time, obviously. Just a beautiful piece of artwork, and the Night Fighter radar and all that sort of stuff on it. Absolutely beautiful. Just love it. But this is a Hasagawa kit, and this one here, it's been around for a little while. It's like it's not a new version by any means. And like I say, I got this one for a fairly good price, 20 bucks, second hand. It's a 72nd scale, and obviously because of the box art, they don't show the swastika on there. I'm hoping the decals have got the swastika on there. But this is one of those ones you can go to town on, guys. They've got some beautiful camo patterns on these, and we'll have a look what's inside the box and see what sort of camo patterns we can come up with. But you can go to town on these because these things were around for a lot of the war. They done the Battle of Britain, all that sort of stuff, and they were worn and torn, and they didn't have time to sort of keep them up to scratch. So you can do a lot of weathering and things like that. You can even do a few, you know, holes through them if they had holes in them. Sometimes they flew with holes in them because they didn't have time to patch them up, as long as it wasn't damaging anything. But like I say, the box art's there. The rest of the box fairly plain. There's not much else on the box there. Inside we've got our decals here, and there we go. We've got our swastikas going on there. Now I've got this second hand, and I can see the ants or something have started to go to town on these, or cockroaches or what it is, have actually started eating into these. So I'm going to put these in a plastic packet after I've done this review to try and protect these, because they haven't actually got into the decals yet, but they have been in here starting to eat it. So we're going to have to sort of keep an eye on that. We've got our control panels, our gauges and stuff going on here. Hopefully they're built up on the plastic, and we don't have to use those, but we'll see as we go through it. But those decals look quite nice. They're a little bit raised. I can feel a little bit of raised, and I can see the edge, the silvered edge around them, but we'll have to see how they go on when we actually do the kit. Next one here we've got, that's our Japanese part. Yep, we don't need that. And here we go with our instruction sheet. And on the front here, we've got a little bit of information on the aircraft itself, like normal. It's great to have these kits. They still do this. They put information on the actual machine itself, so you can read a little bit of history about it, stuff like that. I mean, someone like me, a lot of these things, I buy a kit thinking, I love the look of that thing, but I don't know much of the history. And I love the fact that these kit manufacturers still do these little write-ups on the actual machine itself, so you can learn a little bit about it. First page here, we've got our sprue call-outs. We've got our greyed out parts of pieces we don't need. It's got our colour call-outs down here, and it's got a little instructions like the be careful, drill holes, all that sort of thing for our shortcuts. And then we go into our first page here, and this goes straight into our cockpit. Now the cockpit looks fairly simple. It's got our foot pedals, control stick, our seats, our radios. So it looks like there's a little bit of detail in there, but it's saying here all the decal call-outs to put on there. So we'll have to look at the parts as we go through the kit to see whether we can do those without the decals, whether they're raised or not, but we'll find that as we go through. And that all goes together in one piece at the front, then a fuselage goes together in a piece here, and then the front goes onto the back up here. So that's a little bit different. Most times you have like the fuselage and the nose all together in one piece. This one's a little bit separate, which is quite cool. But we'll have to see what the fit issue, if there's any fit issues with that, because sometimes when you get kits that have that sort of lineup, there's a couple of fit issues with it. So hopefully that won't happen with this kit, but we'll find out when we build it. And down here we get our engines going together. And so we've got our radial engine going inside, the nose going in there, then the cover going over it, and the cowlings going on that. So it looks like there's some nice detail in there that we can paint up. Got our back landing gear goes together in 3 pieces, so that's nicely detailed too by the look of it. But we'll get more of an idea when we go through the actual parts. Next part here, we've got our wings going together. The back part of our cowlings going in here into the wing. Then our wings, tail wings, all that sort of thing going back in there. So that's all fairly straightforward. There's a few little places here it's telling you to drill holes and clean out bits and pieces. So just be careful, guys, because I can see a few of them on this page. So just be careful when you're doing this to make sure you follow these instructions carefully. Look at every little piece to make sure you clear those parts out. Then we have, okay, our landing gear here, the front landing gear. Now this looks a little bit more complex. There's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 pieces to put those together. So it look like a little bit more detailed. Got to look at hinges for our flaps, all that sort of thing. So I'm not sure, but we'll have to see how this goes. Maybe you can file these back, these hinges, so you can have the flaps sagging if you want to do that. But we'll look at that as we go through the kit. And here's our props going together, 3 pieces, 4 pieces there. So hopefully, because of the way this is done, I'm thinking that this should be able to plug in and you'll be able to spin these and pull them out if you don't want them on there. And then our canopy. Obviously the canopy is going to be a little bit of fiddly work here, guys, because it's a fairly complex canopy, so to mask it up is not going to be an easy chore, but it is something that's worth taking time with, because you can make or break an aircraft like this with all that framework with the masking on the canopy. If you don't do it right, it's just going to look ugly. And again, we can see little places here where it's saying to drill holes out, so be very careful reading these instructions, guys, and make sure you do it properly. So we've got this H6 here just pointing up, and they're tiny little things, H12, H7. Make sure you look at the instructions really closely, guys, otherwise you're going to miss stuff. We'll have a clear part here for our sighting gauge, our CA6 that goes in there. So again, guys, take your time, read these instructions carefully when you do it. And that's the end of the build. But then we have our painting instructions here. And we've got, what, 1, 2, 3 different ones. And I'm going to actually research these on the internet and see which one I want to do. I like the one with the dark belly down the bottom here. I'll move it up. You see that dark belly look there, and it's still got the splotches over the top. I like that look, but I'm going to have to look on the internet and I'll see which one I really want to do. And the other reason I like that is because it's got the dark patches over the engine bays here, which is quite nice. I actually quite like that. And then our back page here has just got a little bit of stuff about using your decals and stuff like that. Okay, the parts themselves, here we go. We've got tail wings and stuff going on here in this first part. 72nd scale, and the engraving looks really nice, guys. Now, this has got quite a bit of scuffing in that on it because this has been in the box for a while. It's been passed around a few swap meets, so it's been rattling around this box. So it's going to have to be sanded a little bit to just take all that sort of stuff out of it because it's been rattling around for a while. But the actual engraving, the panel lines are really nicely done. They're not overly thick. They're just quite nice, actually very fine. Rivet details, again, quite nice. They're not overdone, they're not too big. Quite nice, and nose cones and stuff there. So that looks quite nice. And then we've got our, okay, this is our instrument panels, and these are actually raised, and they're actually built into the part. They're actually engraved into the plastic, so you don't have to use the decals, guys. You can actually paint these up. But just be aware they're very fine and tiny, so it's going to take a fair bit of work. You can see our gauges up here, very small, very delicate work. I'm talking, we're going to have to use a toothpick or something to paint those. They're very fine, but I'd rather use that than decals. The decals, just to me, just I can never ever get them to look right, so we'll paint those and see how we go. But again, the engraving looks really nice. There's lots of scuff marks. Maybe you guys can see that, but just from running around the box, I'll try and get this to focus up fairly close. Little focus for you. Hopefully you can see those scuff marks I'm talking about. When you buy second-hand stuff, guys, you sort of expect this. This thing has obviously been around for a while. It's been passed backwards and forwards between people, so you're going to expect those sort of things. Here's our tyres, our hatches, our levers. They look quite nicely detailed. A little bit of flash on them, not too bad. Some flaps here. The flaps, again, they've got the engraving in them is quite nice. Just a little bit of flash I can see on the edging there, but it's not too bad. It's going to be fairly easy to clean up, hopefully. And a little piece here. Here's another gauge instrument panel. Again, they're very tiny, very fine. I'll try and get this up to focus for you guys, so you can see it. You can see that they're very fine. So it's going to take a little bit of work to do that, but it's going to be worth it to get them done. And here again, this is the same as that other sprue there. I think these are sort of the same sprues, but just labelled different numbers and stuff like that. with these guys, the tyres and all that sort of thing. Got our back landing gear on there, quite nice. The detail on these is really nice. The machine gun's really nicely detailed there. I do see a couple little injector pin marks and stuff that are going to have to be taken out. And these parts of the landing gear here, you can see the little injector pins hanging off the side. There's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them there going to have to be taken off, and a seam line in the middle of it. So even just a piece like that, you're probably looking at, you know, quite a few minutes work just to clean that up and get it to look quite nice. And our next sprues here are the engine cowlings and the actual radial engine inside there. There's nice enough detail on there, guys, that once it's put inside the cowling, it's going to look quite nice. Paint that up, like darken it up, put the metal colours over, a bit of oil staining, going to look quite nice. The nose cone here, oh, luckily hasn't been scuffed up too much, but this cowling here has been knocked around quite severely. I can see other parts have been rubbing up against it. And there is a little bit of flash, you can see around the prop up here as well. It's not too bad, but there is a seam line there. A little bit of flash around the ends that are going to be sort of taken off, but it's not too bad. And I think it's going to do it quite nice actually. Like looking at the this cowling here hasn't been knocked around. The engraving is quite fine, so I think they're going to look quite nice. This one here, I'm going to have to do a bit of work to clean that one up there to get it to look all right, because it's quite severely damaged from rubbing and stuff like that. But we can work with that. We can get that done. This piece here is exactly the same as the last sprue. And this guy here is the one I've really been looking forward to. This is our wings and our fuselage. Now, looking at the engraving, the panel lines on this, they're absolutely beautiful. They're nice and fine. All our fuel hatches and stuff like that, absolutely beautiful. A little bit of rivet detail around them and stuff like that, absolutely gorgeous. There's just a minor little bit of flashing. The way that the sprue is attached to it, you're going to have to be careful when you nip these off, because you'll end up with indentations or nips out of your wings if you cut them too close. But very nice, guys. And even the underwings here, absolutely beautiful. The detail on there is absolutely superb. It's a real shame that sort of detail most people won't see, because it's on the under part of the wing. You're not going to see it. But I mean, if you want to put it on a mirror base, obviously there's going to be one of those kits you can do that on a mirror base, and it's going to be some beautiful detail underneath this thing. The fuselage itself, again, beautiful detail on there. The panel lines are probably maybe just a really small fraction overdone for the fuselage, but 70-second scale, like I say, you're going to have them stand out anyway. Otherwise, if you have them realistic, you won't even see them once you paint it. So once it's painted and sanded back, they should be quite nice, but really nice. They're all there, all the panel lines. Well, as far as I can tell, they're all there. There's no rivet detail. I don't think there was a rivet detail on these, but we'll have a look at the drawing plans just to see that. But the wings have got the rivet detail, especially the underwings. They're absolutely gorgeous. They're very nice. And our last one here, I'm taking out a packet. This is our canopies, and as you can see, the canopies here, there's quite a few little squares in there you have to sort of mask up. But again, take your time, guys, because this can make or break the model as well. If you don't do these properly and you don't mask it properly, and you've got overruns and stuff like that, it can ruin an aircraft like this. Canopies are one of the things that stand out on an aircraft like this, because they're so detailed. And if you ruin those details, you can ruin the whole model. But it looks quite nice. Our aiming gauges are very nicely detailed, some beautiful detail on those. And we've got some polycaps down there too. They're probably for the props and wheels, I'm not sure, but we'll see as we go through the build. But quite a nice little kit by the look of it, guys, but you have to see how it builds up when we build it. But anyway, guys, hopefully you've enjoyed this review. And like always, guys, if you can support me on Patreon, I would really appreciate it. So go ahead and support me on there if you can. But thanks for watching, guys, like always, and I will see you in the next video.